So once again, Chris McNeil, now I also go by Dr. McNeil. That's been a long-term dream for mine. And for me, it was something that always kind of came out as, hey, once you say it and that's something that you believe in, you got to follow through. So in my yearbook, like way back when in 2007, it says like most likely to be doctor or wanted to be a doctor or whatever. And now like I get to live that out. But what's interesting and specifically for this school board race is when I said it, I had no idea like the implications that it would have. And so growing up, I was a military brat, grew up in Lawton, Oklahoma, born in Würzburg, Germany. So there's a lot of things that like in terms of just your prototypical growing up in Oklahoma and things that you think about that either I was exposed to late or just never really got kind of a sense of the small town mentality. You always think like, oh man, there's like something bigger out there. There's something crazy going on. And the more I thought about these things, the more likely it was that, wow, everything that's going on that I've seen outside is going on in Oklahoma too. So as much as I want to leave, there's something that was always pulling me here and keeping me home. Within that case, growing up, once again, got a chance to do the same route as a lot of students kind of who love athletics is you got an opportunity to get a scholarship in wrestling. And whether it be this sport or a different sport, it provided the opportunity for me to do things that education might not always have been at the forefront. And I'll get into that as we go on. The biggest thing with this is it paid for my education, and I ended up staying in Oklahoma because Oklahoma had powerhouse wrestling.
Where did you? I'm sorry. Where did you go to? Where did you go in a wrestling scholarship to?
Oklahoma State University.
Wow, you went right to the top. Okay.
All right. Yeah. So wrestled for John. John Smith came to my house, and we fed him orange chicken, like I guess every Black family does. You have a recruiter come to your house to talk to you. So, but you know, in that essence, you really kind of get an idea of how your skills will pay bills. And for me, something that I did in wrestling, you know, just a matter of I didn't want to lose, but you had access to great coaches and a great experience to get this opportunity. It paid for the way for me to get to the next level. And so as I look at, you know, the jobs of a school board member to provide opportunities as a bridge to the community and back from the community to the school, these experiences definitely culminate into what's so important for these kids and parents to know. So graduated high school, Lawton MacArthur, went to Oklahoma State for wrestling, wrestled there and met a tremendous amount of people, had some amazing opportunities. One of the things that happened along this process is I met a lot of mentors who had gone to Oklahoma State's medical school, OSU CHS. And in this process as well, it became something that was super important because all of my mentors had a unique aspect in common, a thread, I guess, of destiny. And that was that they were all alumni of the same medical school that I had never heard of. So in this process, I had these people to directly impact me and tell me, hey, here's what to do, here's how to get involved, et cetera, et cetera. In this process as well, I didn't get into medical school right away because my whole time was spent being competitive. I was trying I was recruited to win championships. I was not recruited to become a doctor. And so even though this is something that I said, that was not the intention of my scholarship. And so, you know, knowing like the hand that feeds you and what you're being essentially kind of put in a position to do is very important for your scope and practice, especially once again, getting into the school board. So I finished my eligibility at OSU and couldn't get into medical school right away. And so it was funny that I had a 1-year scholarship to go and get some type of extra degree that if you try to become a physician and you miss, you're in biology. So you can either teach biology or you can become a teacher, or you're kind of stuck if you don't pull it out, if you don't know how to essentially kind of make the best out of your education and find ways to use your network to provide another platform for you. So the first job that I had out of college, I got my master's degree in entrepreneurship, was actually teaching financial literacy at a teen pregnancy prevention program at Union called the Carrera program. And so at that point in time, I didn't know that Oklahoma was second in the nation for teen pregnancies. And the school being very proactive about it is like, let's jump ahead of the curve and make sure that we have students that can benefit and grow from this. So taught there, and I had 225 students that I saw every day of the week, whether it be in the classroom or direct mentoring. Those students now are the class of 2020, and they've graduated, and now some of them want to become doctors too. So the things that they've said, I've held them accountable to, and saying like, hey, now you can actually shadow me as a physician, and things come back full circle. I went into medical school by the time that they were in 8th grade. So we moved up with them every year. And at that point in time, I actually got the phone call that I got accepted in the medical school in the 8th grade library. So it was a surreal moment to where you're like, Mr. McNeil, are you crying? Like, no, there's something to my eye. Like, this is something that I had planned out way back in 2007. And now it's coming into fruition when I'm in front of kids. So went on to medical school, graduated from medical school, did emergency medicine was my top pick. And what a lot of people don't know is that actually the way medical school and the process works, the time that you're a 4th year medical student, you apply for residencies all over the country. And most people put out 100 to 150 residency applications. I put out one. And I put out one to where my mentors are from. I put it out to OSU Medical Center, right downtown in Tulsa, to do emergency medicine. And so what happened along this process is I appointed for a position or agreed to step up to interview for a position that it could have took, if I didn't get matched into OSU or I had to go somewhere else, I could have been in Ohio, I could have been in New York. So definitely took a gamble there. And why it was important was because like I was fully invested in my kids being a part of union. I had to compete with kids who went to union, who got into medical school, maybe got into medical school before me. So I knew what the school was capable of. I had roommates that I wrestled with that were from union. So I had heard about union, and my wife is from union. So like there's things that really made the school stand out to me as a way to, how can I call this place home and let my kids have some of these same opportunities that I had to compete against. So now getting into the position of being a school board member, being appointed was more or less the sign of, I had one pitch going into the interview, and that was, I'd been to, as a teacher, as a fan, as a neighbor, I'd been to a lot of the Pee Wee football games, and whether it be kids asking me to come or just, being in the neighborhood and seeing like, oh man, like there's a lot of people here, what's going on? In this instance, you would see the referees were Black, the parents were Black, the kids were Black, and you would see the diversity that really exists on paper in the district, but not necessarily always that happens at the PTA meetings, at the school board meetings, in the parking lots. And so in the school leadership councils, being able to see like, man, these kids on this field are running through walls. And yeah, football's fun, but at the same time, there's something else here that's more organic. There's something else here that is, when you have a tribe of people who are supporting you and investing in you, like, what are you actually capable of? What is your potential? And so I thought, if we flip that around and I think about how I became a physician, I had that tribe. People, it didn't matter what they looked like. It just mattered that they invested in me in a way that spoke to me, that said it's possible. And so I brought that as being appointed to a school board member, said, I think I can light a spark for union. And even though the mission is 100% career and college ready, that's not what our numbers always portray. That's the mission. We're not there yet. That's the goal. That's the standard. We're at 90 to 88%. So if we look at those kids who didn't graduate and some of them look like me, can I make a difference? And, the answer is a resounding yes. When you look at, there's never been a Black school board member before that is interested in these types of things and is willing to have these hard and intentional conversations about what is possible for all kids in the district.